I got into the drug trade.
What's going through your mind?
I got caught
Wait, and take that for granted.
touching $3 million.
There you go. After all, because you were in jail.
This ain't too bad, you know. I'm kind of floating around.
You can make the money, but you gotta get out. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the Winners Club podcast, where even when we don't win, we learn, and learning is a form of winning. And guys, I have a real special guest. It's gonna be an amazing show today because I brought along one of my good friend, but his story is so impactful because this man right here made it, lost it, and then made it all back. But the way in which he lost it is the most crucial for you guys, the listener, because some of you guys who may be experiencing maybe a bad investment or maybe made the wrong move, this man right here is a testament that you can turn your life around, get it back, and succeed at a very high level. My name is Brian Tran, your host. I got my co-host there, PJ Padua.
Yo, what's up, guys?
And the guest of honor today, we're going to go by code name Mooch. Mooch, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here
All
this
right.
morning.
You're looking
This
good.
Lovely day.
Love the shades.
Thank you.
What do you call the shades again?
These are blickies.
And guys, before we start the show, 1 second. Woo. White monsters, baby.
I agree.
Cheers to that, Mooch.
Cheers.
It's too early for alcohol, but we're going to start it off with some good old caffeine.
I love it. I love it.
Guys, so let's take it back. I'm going to get it real juicy. The way in which this man lost it was that he went to prison for a little over 7 years.
7.5.
7.5 years. Got tossed around, moved around, lost it all, came out, crushed it. So, Mooch, let's take it back from the beginning. Not your childhood, but tell me about when you started making all that money. Let's take it back to 1975.
It was 75. I started working with my family. We had shops. We had a body shop, auto repair, and an ironworks. And I was learning about the auto industry, and I started really rolling with that. And after that, to have my brother get involved in my shop, I purchased my first home in 1978 in down the peninsula. It's basically called Redwood Shores. Purchased this house for like $95,000. Was kind of a thing where a lot of people thought I was crazy paying that money, and it was $95,000 at the time, and actually at this time.
Did you make this money through the body shop or
Through the auto repair.
so you had a profitable business already?
Yes, because I sold half my business to my brother to pay the down payment for the home.
Nice.
So in turn, come since 78 till now, it's touching $3 million.
There you go.
You know, and I almost lost it during my time when and then I started dabbling, cutting corners, and I got into the drug trade.
So this is 1975. Did you start getting into the drug trade in 75 or what year was this?
No, more like the early 80s in the big cocaine deal when everybody was dabbling in it. Everybody
you were a cocaine cowboy.
Everybody
Those were the
wearing
times, too.
Everybody wearing gold spoons on their neck and or gold razor blades, and they thought they were cool. And I rolled, and then I got caught.
Well, let's take it back because that's where it gets juicy.
Yeah.
So you had a legitimate business,
Yes.
making good money,
Yes.
but you got caught in the whirlwind of, was it fast money that drew you to it, or what drew you to the drug trade?
Basically, the drug trade was kind of helped me during the hard times of learning the auto industry, because you don't just know it all. And you buy equipment, and you buy cars because you want that flash. So, you don't get caught. You don't get caught. You're making easy money, and you keep going. And you're told that, you may get caught, and you don't listen. So then after the whole situation, because I had purchased other properties in different areas, and when it all came crashing down, I saved 2 of them, and my family helped take care of them for me while I was gone, thank God. And I started when I was in the prison system, the Bureau of Prisons.
Oh, you're jumping ahead. I got some more questions for you.
Sure, go for it.
We got to dive deep because your story is so impactful. So you're selling all this. So while you were selling the drugs, did you still operate the business, or did it?
Yes.
Did it come to a point where you're like, screw this?
No, I ran a bit. Well, basically, when you're doing something illegal, you need a front. So you do that, and then you get wrapped up into it. The lifestyle.
How old were you at this time?
I was 35.
35.
When I went down, I was 35. So I probably started when I was 24. So I did it for probably about
11 years.
11 years.
You had a good run.
Yeah, I mean, we all started with a little weed, and then this new stuff, the super, and you think you're invincible, and you get wrapped up in the game, and it just so happens when it did happen, that was when Noriega had gone down, and the climate for the drug industry was, lock them up and throw away. They wanted to forfeit my house, and I had 24 hours to pay the U.S. Marshals for the money I made.
Jesus.
Or they were going to forfeit my home.
I'm going to take a moment here because I think some of the people listening, look, I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of people that do everything. I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a lesson there. And I think the lesson is you can make the money, but you got to get out.
That's correct.
Because he said it. He felt invincible. But no one is invincible. We are all human. We are all subject to making mistakes. We are all, and especially when you're dabbling in something that is illegal, it's only a matter of time before your ass get caught.
That's correct.
But he was smart enough, and the lesson that I'm picking up right now, he was smart enough. At least he may have bought a lot of cool cars, and Mooch today has a lot of cool cars. He's got Porsches, and the man knows how to live. But at least during that time, the 11 years, he bought properties. He bought assets. He didn't just buy gold chains, Rolex watches, stupid cars, and blew it on women. You probably did a little bit, right? That's guilt, that's fine.
We're all there.
But at least, the one saving grace is that you invested that money.
It's correct.
Yeah.
You take that little bit of money and you invest it. Basically, I read a lot when I was gone, and one of the books I read, I think everybody out there should read, it's called California Gold. And these people didn't make their money from the gold. They made the money from getting that little chunk of gold and going buying a piece of property. And then it flourished. The only people that really made the big mother lode were like the Sutters and different people. There wasn't very big fines. It was everybody who get this little bit of gold, and they go and buy property in Sacramento or the Sierras, and that's the way life is today. You're not going to get it all at once. You just kind of accumulate your wealth, and next thing you know, overnight, you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
Like my home.
Your overnight success took 10 years. Basically.
It was a $15,000 or $18,000 down payment, and it was because I started that shop and somebody wanted to get involved with me with it. And here, I guess it's almost 40 years later, it's almost $3 million. Yeah. How are you going to put that together working?
No.
You're not. So everybody's got to save and invest.
Cool. I want to take it back. We're not going to go too deep into the technicalities of what happened, but how did you get pinched?
Well, basically, this is very interesting. I used to kind of dabble just a little with my friends and, a little bit here, a little there. And then there's this friend of mine that I met through another friend, and he lived in Hawaii via Guam. And basically, my big deal in this whole industry was I would pick up some product, and one of the runners would come and see me, and I'd give him the product, and he would strap it to his body and go through Hawaii, then via Guam. And when he arrived in Guam, he got arrested. And then they backtracked, and all the runners, we did it for like 3 or 4 years, and I was involved with 6 runs. And basically, there was only 2 guys that didn't roll, was me and this my friend Ronnie, which he passed away, but the rest of the crew rolled. And the Kingpin, he only did 5 years, and he rolled on everybody. And I come to find out he was making like $156,000 a load.
Jesus.
And I was making $5,000 a load. So do the math. You know, and here this guy, basically he only did 5 years, and he got to go to it's in Pleasanton. He went to the
Santa
camp
Rita?
in Pleasanton.
Yeah, Santa Rita.
Yeah. Well, Santa Rita's a state. Pleasanton's a federal. I was in the feds.
Okay.
Okay, and I could not stay in California because all the other players were all rats. So they sent me to Safford, and from Safford I ended up in Big Springs, Texas. I went on a big airlift. When I left Safford, they sent me to Phoenix. And then I stayed in Phoenix 2 weeks, and then they said, "Okay, roll it up, and you're going on an airlift." And I was on an airlift via El Paso. I was on an airlift for 18 hours, flying all over the United States, picking up inmates and dropping them off. You land, and the plane kind of looks like Air Force One. It's painted the same colors. You land, and next thing you know, you look out the window, and there's 30 U.S. Marshals around the plane with shotguns. And you see the guys coming off the plane, and, you know, and at the end of it all, I ended up in Oklahoma. It's called El Reno. And this was before they made the U.S. Marshal, where the plane pulls right up. So you get on a bus at 11:30 at night. You drive to a place called El Reno, and the place where they held the people that are being traveling or in transit, it's called the bird cage. So it kind of looks like, if anybody's ever been to Alcatraz, that's what it looks like. Same era, you know, with the doors that open up with a lever. And I happened to be naive to the whole system, and I had my arm in the last door, and I almost lost my arm. And the hack, he goes, "You're lucky you were at the last door." He goes, "You would have been the first 4 doors." He goes, "You would have lost your arm."
Jesus. Well, hold on. I'm going to chime in real quick. Number one, he's not a rat. And for not being a rat, they just put him on a plane and moved him around. I thought if you don't snitch, they treat you like crap.
Yeah, if you don't snitch, what they
backwards
do,
in the
they
system.
keep you as far away from your family as possible.
Ah, damn it. It's a punishment. But this man right here did it. So,
Yeah, definitely crazy stuff.
Go
Crazy
ahead.
story. I mean, I want to ask you the question, Mooch, because I'm very interested. What was your initial thoughts like when you picked up the charges and, you know, first day in, and now you're like, my life has changed? What was going on through your head? Were you?
To be honest with you, you know, I was fortunate when I did go in. I was already having problems, so I had a doctor that gave me a script of a light. It's like a volume. It's called lorazepam.
Okay.
So when I landed in El Reno at 11:30 at night, and John Gotti's brother gave me my bedroll because he was doing time in El Reno, and then you go to your meds, and they give you your meds. It's called hot medication. So all of a sudden, this ain't too bad, you know. I'm kind of floating around. I'm waiting in line to call my family to let them know where I'm at, and it was a run. It was definitely an eye opener and an experience.
I want to dig into the prison. So what kept your? There's a couple things, and because I know you want to dive a little deeper. You lost a lot of your money because you also spent a lot in legal bills.
Yeah, $125,000.
That's $125,000 back in the 80s.
So today's numbers, somebody told me yesterday, because I was talking about this cast I was going to do. He said, you're looking at $700,000 today.
So not only did he have to spend all the legal money, you also have to pay off the U.S. Marshal. How much was that?
$40,000.
$40,000 back then. That's probably 100-something thousand, probably even more.
I mean, that's how much. That's how little I made on that whole fiasco with this thing going to Guam. $40,000 to lose 10 years. In the system, I did 7.5, and really I got 10 years. They wanted to give me 20 because I have a prior, so they wanted to charge me for my prior, which is 10 years. So I got it down after fighting for 2 years. I got it down to 10 years. So then once you get out, you have 5 years of paper. It isn't like the old law where you mess up and then you're done. You go back in and you once you do your time, then you get out and you're released. No, they start you over. You're doing the whole 5 years of paper.
Jesus.
So in other words, you have to go see your probation officer. They'll just bounce at your house and show up.
Yeah.
Just to see if they could catch you into something.
So because you paid the $40,000 and then you paid the $125,000 in legal fees, you were able to keep your Redwood Shores home.
That and my family, we owned a house together in Lake Tahoe.
Okay, so you got to keep that too.
Yes.
Okay, great. Then you go to jail or prison, and then what's going through your mind? That's the main thing that we want to see. Like, because most people just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Like,
I wanted to ask
done.
too. Did you want to give up? Were you like, okay, this is my life forever? Or when did it take you the time to be like, I'm going to come out of here a better man. I'm going to do things maybe a little differently.
Well, basically what I did in there after I left Lompoc, which was a farm, which I had a good time there, but I wasn't going to get anywhere there. I mean, how much can I apply be doing farming? So I got caught. We had access to alcohol. We're in a camp. So you could get things a lot easier in a camp than you can behind the wall.
Yeah.
So I got caught drinking. The whole camp got caught this Friday night. I mean, all the staff came in 11 o'clock at night and started breathalyzing everybody, and there was like 30 of us all went to USP Lompoc, and they put us in a dorm because they can't. Our custody level was so low they can't intermix high level inmates to low level inmates. So then they transferred me back to Safford, where I started. And when I was there, I got into the refrigeration deal there, and they started a class, and I helped develop it, and I did it for. I put 8,000 hours, documented hours. I got my journeyman papers. I got it's a test you take nationwide. It's called ARI, and I came 8th in the nation in doing it. And since I've been home, that's what I've been doing since I've been home, and I've been home since 1990. So I've 22 years. I've established a great business, and I've provided. I bought more property, and so there is life at the end of the tunnel if you want. If you want to go work out at the weight pile and read books and smoke and just bullshit, then you're going to come back because that's all you know. And I have run into people that I knew, and they were, like Brian was saying, they're slinging again. And guess what? They're going to end up right back because they're watching you. They even know who you are. You're on a list. And when you are out, when you first get out, you have to let the town know that you are. It's not like a sex offender. You just do it till you're off paper. So you have to let them know you're a drug offender. So if they look online, they could see, oh, there's a drug offender on this street, and they do that with sex offenders. But that they have to do it for the rest of their lives, which I'm not a sex offender. I've just gotten fucking caught in the game. So
Yeah, I think that's great. I think, what you said about you did go to jail, unfortunate as it is, but you brought something back that you could now build into your
to
future.
be honest with you, it was like even the mob, they call it college. We call it college. You're in a restaurant. You don't say you were, at the fucking joint. You're in college. So basically, it's an education. I was with senators, judges. I used to eat breakfast with Sal Gambino. I used to eat breakfast with Vinny Ferreira. He was my workout partner. He was from the Petriacca family, and Gambino, we know who the Gambino family is. And there was a Manrini. He was involved with the mob family in New York. So, and that was all in Terminal Island, because that's where I ended my stretch in Terminal Island. I finished my time there, and that's where I was released. And if anybody's ever been on a cruise ship leaving San Pedro, you will see when you're going out, you look to the left on the ship, and you'll see the prison. And a lot of girls will take their tops and lift them up to kind of mess with the inmates, and and they're drinking, they're waiting for the boat to get ready, and they're already lit, and they're already been told, hey, there's a federal prison right there at the point. So yeah, it was definitely a run, and yes, there is light at the end of the tunnel if you put it there. Because I used to be on roofs, and these staff members go, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I go, well, because I didn't go there to, because when you do start working and people see you working, they go, why are you working for the man? I wasn't working for the man. I was working for me. And every prison I felt was like a city. So when you're in you know how many units you would have in these places. You have air conditioners. You have freezers that hold food outdoor of the facility. You have so much equipment there. So it's like being in San Francisco and having 50 accounts. And, and that's what I do. I go out, like today after I leave this podcast, I have to go to San Carlos to Domenico's winery. So I go, so it's all basically, I knew I had a game plan when I got out.
I like it. You kind of tested your game plan also
Exactly.
in the system, and then applied it to real life, which I think is profound. Brian, what are some thoughts?
Listen up. That's a message right there. That your life could be messed up, but if you have a game plan, it may not be the game plan that he stuck with, but he had a plan to keep the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what other situation you can be in other than prison. That's probably the worst that you can be in.
Yeah.
So for those listening right now, you may have bought the wrong property. You may have invested in the wrong thing and lost your ass. Or you could be in a situation where you feel like you're rock bottom.
Yeah.
That is rock bottom, where you have your liberty taken away from you.
That's what it is. When your liberty is taken.
And this man is a testament that you can make it out, but you got to control your mind.
I like that.
He owned his mind. His physical body may have been locked up, but his mind was free. His mind never gave up. He knew what he had to do, and despite the I can't imagine prison being a very positive place. It was probably very negative, and everybody in there, exactly what you said. Don't work for the man.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Yeah.
So, Mooch, I want to ask you, after, we'll go back into your story, but do you regret the decisions you've made?
Well, going away, yes, you're going to regret it. I regret what happened with my mother and father, my family, my daughter, who it affected her quite a bit. But on the other hand, my experience and what I learned, it was definitely, you want to learn about this country or learn around this government, go in the Bureau of Prisons. Because when a president changes, the whole aspect of your prison changes. things that you used to get are gone now because this administration doesn't want it. They're not going to give the finance for it. It's a big deal. And, when you're in there, the only person you have left, if you're in the crosshairs of the United States government and, you got to roll with what they say, the only person you have left to pray for is God. Yeah. Because, my God, who's one of the strongest departments is the U.S. government. It's and they may be soft with it, but they're not soft with the time. 20 years is a long time. Yeah. 7 years is a long time. Yeah. And I was doing time with people. They're looking at, when I was in El Reno, there's a guy in the upper bunk, 40 years. I'm short. I'm telling them I got 10. To them, that's nothing.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I know we've mentioned a lot of the bad things that have gone on, but what are some good things that you believe has brought from your experiences, going to, the system and all that? What are some good things that afterwards kind of fell into your life?
Well, basically one thing was working out. Did a lot of working out, lifting weights. At one time I could hit 2 plates. Shit, I can't even I could barely hit 1 plate now. I mean, it's just, you could get it back if you stick with it. I've learned a lot. I learned a lot in there. I read a lot. Mm-hmm. You have time, and when you do something, your mind's clear. You're not drinking, you're not out, gallivanting around, So there is some light at the end of the tunnel with it, but you still don't want to roll there. You want to do it on the streets.
Yeah. You don't need to go to prison, guys, to read books, work out, and better yourself.
You know,
all right?
Yeah.
But take it from this man. When you're in prison, that's what you can do. But for him to say that that's the light, that's the positive, don't wait.
Yeah.
And take that for granted. You can do that today.
For sure. They
say you can work out today. You can read more books today. You can better yourself today in the comfort of your own home.
Yeah, when
with liberty and justice for you. You know what I mean?
For all.
Well, not for all, because you were in jail, but
that's what they say. That's what they say. But off camera too, you were mentioning that you actually met Brian, through your refrigeration business.
Well, basically, what I did is I have a refrigeration company, and I hooked up with some neighborhood friends of mine that have an ice cream company, and they've been in business since 1955. They're the Stoller Brothers ice cream distributors, and they happen to do this store down the street from where we're at right now. It's called Reno's Liquors. And Damien's been in this store like 35 years, and we met, and we're like brothers. And from there, I met Brian, and I've met other people involved in this in this group that we're in. They got a boba shop on the corner that I help with some of the equipment, and Brian's got some other coffee shops. Fact, on my phone, I got them under Rise and Grind. I don't have them under Brian. So yeah, it's when you do get into something, you meet good people, and these good people are into positive things, and they're not illegal, and to put your ass back in there, and you don't want to go back because if I go back, it's worse. Like, you should know better. What are you doing? Why you know what time it is with it, because your second or third offense, they're throwing the fucking key away. Yeah. So, there's money to be made out there. You see these people, and we live in an area where money. People throw money at you.
Yeah. Yeah. So
did it ever cross your mind? Because I mean, I know this with in that drug game, money comes so fast. And so, did you ever think that, hey, maybe I'll go back to doing it because it's easier than doing refrigeration?
Nah, I would. I don't want to. Yeah, like I said, if you get back into it and they catch you again, that's the first thing they say when they pick you up. You already got priors, because that's a line I always use when you do shit with people and they keep making the same mistake, you go, that motherfucker's got priors, right? So it's something that you pick up, because I picked up a lot of lingo when I was in there, and it's fun to use, and it was an experience, because I could keep people occupied with my experience. But I like to have experiences on how I met people in this legal industry that I'm in, and it's been very profitable for me, and I probably maybe have 2 or 3 more years left, and I'll be retiring. So yeah, I mean, I made the best of a bad situation.
That's right. But you didn't dwell on the past.
You can't. You got to move on. You got to move on and look at the positive, not the negative. And if there's people bringing up negative, you could have 10 people that are 8 of them are positive and 2 that are negative, and 2 negative will outweigh the 8 positive. So if you have negative people in your life, or haters, they're haters. You get rid of them. Let me miss you. And that's the thing in life. When you getting something going, and the old key, when your parents say, don't tell everybody what's going on, because those are the ones who are going to hate on you. So you got to keep a lot of it in. I'm starting to figure it out now, and I'm 67 years old. I figured it out in the last 5 years. You can't tell everybody everything.
Yeah. Keep some in. Damn, that's powerful.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
And it's so simple.
But
the simplest things are usually the most impactful.
Even the flash. Even the flash. I mean, you could have flash, but there's a limit to it. Especially when you're young. Then you got people that are older. Most of the people, they got stuff already. When you're young and you got stuff, and the other 10 people don't, they're gonna hate on you.
Yeah.
Damn, that's good. Hit him with some more lessons, Mooch.
Yeah, it's the truth, man. That's why you just gotta really pick a handful of friends. And honestly, Brian, you've said this before. You cultivate good friends. They're all making money, so nobody's hating. Everybody prospers off of each other. It just flourishes.
Yeah.
It's like having a group of friends, and you don't have bums.
Yeah.
You have deadbeats that all they want to do is drink and party and go here and go there. You want to have people that aren't the same. Hey, man, I got this going. You want to invest? And that's how it works. And overnight, everybody's a millionaire.
Yeah, like let's invest and then let's drink a beer.
Yeah.
Let's party.
We drink.
Yeah.
It's not that we don't.
Yeah.
But when we drink, the conversations that we have are much different
Definitely.
than,
Definitely.
the typical.
Yeah.
And so he said it right. Cut the negative people out.
Yeah.
I've been pushing this so hard. It doesn't matter if that person is your blood family, your best friend of 30 years, but if they're negative, they don't deserve to be in your life.
Yeah.
You don't want them in your life. That's the whole deal. You don't want them in your life. They don't deserve. You don't want them in your life, and that's what you got to do. You got to go through your stack of friends, and I've really cleaned up in the last 5 years. I've eliminated a lot of people. They're like it's like baggage, bad baggage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people struggle with that because they feel like they're being the bad friend. They're cutting them off, and that's wrong. That's not a good friend quality. But when are you gonna look at yourself and be like, yo, who's taking care of me? Like, who's gonna be a good friend to me?
Or if you get friends and they only call you when they need something.
Yeah.
That's definitely a flag.
Definitely.
Or they
Definitely
don't
a
answer
flag.
their phone. They'll answer you 3 days later. Now I need something.
Jesus.
I
want to ask something, Mooch.
Sure.
For all the earlier young bucks out there who probably slinging here and there, what's your advice to them? The ones trying to drug deal and do all that. What do you think?
If you come from a situation where you don't have much money and everybody took risks. I mean, if you look at the major players in this country, the Kennedys, their family, they were into bootlegging. The dad was into scotch.
I
if
mean,
you
there's a
look
lot of
at-
rappers, like they did the same thing. They started from drug dealing, but they made it out.
But you got to know when to get out. You got to, put that money to work, get yourself into a legal situation, and move on. I mean, even the Roosevelt, their father was selling poppy, heroin.
Yeah.
So this country was founded. I mean, the whole world's involved with some kind of illegal activity, and then you move on.
Yeah.
You move on and get into something legal.
I really like that. I think, taking away from what you said, it's a very raw answer and it's very real. It is what it is if that's what you're doing, but start thinking of what's the next step after this, because this is not the end of the road. This is not the end to success.
Well,
there's bigger and better things for that.
I don't know if anybody's ever, you out there, you guys watch Narco or
Yeah.
and you see these guys and
How do all those seasons end? Think about it that way.
they're all locked up or dead.
That's right.
Pretty much.
I mean,
Pretty
you
much.
hear Chapo had a gun that said billionaire on it. That motherfucker's he's in he's in Florence, Colorado. They call it underground. It's just built up against a hill in Florence, Colorado. And for intimidation, when you come there, a tank meets the bus. A lot of the federal system, they use intimidation to put you in your place. That guy Felix, he's doing life there. He was the one part of that whole Sinaloa with the pot. They call it the triangle, the golden triangle.
Yep.
And they were doing fine with the pot, and he saw a big picture of we could sell one bale of coke versus pot, and we can make that much more money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look what it got him. He's doing life in prison now.
Yeah.
They once this country. You get under crosshairs and they extradite you here because nobody wants extradition here. They look at Chapo. If you watch the movie, he had his own prison built. And then he goes and murders a couple people while he was in prison. Well, guess what? That ain't going to happen. You're going in. They put him in another prison that they're running.
I mean, this is not just for our hustlers. We'll call them hustlers out there. But there's a message that he's preaching is that you have to know when to get out, but how do you know when to get out? Well, you gotta, I think there's a tip for this, and this is not just for the hustlers too. You gotta live below your means.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things that I've seen with that industry that gets people out is when they get married and they have a kid, or a couple kids, and they say, hey, I don't want to see my kids come to prison, which I was a dumb fuck, and I had a kid, and I got in trouble.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing. I think the kid and the family aspect, that helps you get grounded and say, hey, it's done. Your old lady's working. You probably bought a house, so you don't need to worry about that, and it's time to get some legal business, and hopefully you have some kind of trade that you could go do, or you go back into the high-tech industry or whatever you're about.
Yeah.
And you could apply that, but you've already got a little bump that you take advantage of. And like Brian was saying, you want to take advantage of that little bump and live on your means. You don't want to go over and be, that's what keeps you wanting to dabble, because you're spending money. You're buying another Rolex.
Well, they got to keep up with it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the thing. It's like, well, oh shoot, if I spent $50,000 last month, it's okay because I'm gonna make another $50,000 next month.
Yeah, and then the
But
other
then
thing
you fall into the cycle until eventually you get busted.
and then where do you eat? Do you have to go to that restaurant where they're charging this much, and you're drinking like going to the Four Seasons out in Half Moon Bay eating $40 raviolis.
We just smoke cigars
what
out
I'm
there. We
talking
don't
about,
eat. We never eat
I
there.
didn't
See,
mention, but you know who said that, right?
so
I'll keep him out of it.
I like that. You got to live below. You got to know how much to put away, and you got to invest it. And I know it's hard because it's a lot of fun being with women, living this big hot shot life, but it isn't fun when it runs out. And there's also another thing. The industry changes. Goes up and down, left and right. Prices go up, prices go down. One day you're rich, one day you're not. So you don't even have to wait to get busted. But that actually applies for people out there who are listening and you have a high-paying job. Well, what if Google laid your ass off?
Yep.
You got a big pension. You got like 6 months to figure it out, but now you lost that income.
Right.
And if you're used to driving the G-Wagons, living in this
high life.
$15,000, $20,000 a month mortgage, what happens now? So this applies to everybody. You got to invest.
Yeah.
You got to put away enough, like my man Mooch here, to where your homes or multiple homes go up in value when you're not even working. He works because he chooses to work. But
Well,
if he
I'll be
didn't work-
honest with you. You sit home, and
Yeah.
I've been sitting home.
You'll go
I'm
crazy.
practicing for retirement,
Yeah.
which I don't mind sitting on a couch watching a show. I watch a lot of documentaries and stuff, and I learn a lot. But when that phone rings and I say, hey, I could drive to the city, go make $500 or $700, like yesterday, I was almost halfway home. And this place called The Independent, which I met through Reno's Liquors. There it is. It's branching off. Again, another person I met. And this person happens to own the Pearl on 3rd Street. They own The Independent, and they also own the Hotel du Nord. So they called me, and I went there and worked on one of his beer boxes. So it developed into $500, and I was almost home. So in all, yesterday, half a day, I made $1,000. How do you put that together?
What's one message you want to leave the audience, Mooch, from your life experience? What's something that you want to share?
Never quit. Never quit, and find an avenue that you're comfortable with and it's society needs, and keep going and learn how to live at a mellow pace, and don't reach for the stars and get yourself in trouble. Take shortcuts.
What you mentioned something too, and I loved it so much because you that stacking your little bit of cash. I want you to say it.
What's that?
Stack a little bit every day. Go ahead.
Yeah, you just put a little money away every day, and then basically it's like this. This friend of mine, he's like saying numbers. He goes, well, little numbers turn into big numbers. So I make little numbers, but at the end of the month, I got a stack of numbers. So when you think you're only making this little bit, like you see a coffee shop or a deli, and they're charging $5.99 and $10.99, and then they get a group buys $60 worth. Well, at the end of the day, they made $5,000.
Yeah.
So it's not, and the people who make the big numbers, they might do that once a month. So it's consistency. That's what life's all about. Being consistent with your friends. Not one day you're a good guy and the next day you're not. So really, life is really being consistent and positive to you, your friends, and your family. And that's all I could tell everybody. You think you're bullshitting the world, you're going to get caught. And you're going to get, your friends are going to see you're full of shit.
Damn, powerful.
I really like that. One of my favorite episodes, guys. So let's wrap it up on that. Keep it light. But thank you guys for listening. Really appreciate it. Give us a 5-star review for Mooch in the building.
Thank you, everybody.
If you have any questions too, drop it in the comments. And we'll see you guys on the next one, okay?
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.